Hey guys, it's Maritza from Organic Medicine, and today I want to talk about why breaking up with sugar isn't easy. Because if it was, everyone would be doing it. So this is a great topic, especially right now around this time of year. We just had the holidays, and I think it's so interesting that even though a majority of people and you know that sugar is bad for you, like this is not breaking news by any means, there is still such an attachment to it. And you see things being marketed such as sugar detoxes, and people just really trying to wean off of sugar. So obviously it's not easy to do, and I want to talk about why it's so hard to break away from it. Because ultimately sugar is the #1 addiction in the United States, which is actually higher than caffeine. So this is pretty astounding. And I really believe that if we truly want to get over something, then we have to break it down and really understand why it even exists in the first place. What is this curse that exists that is called a sugar addiction? So let me just dive right into it. So the first reason why it's so difficult to let go of sugar is because we are emotionally bonded to it, right? So if you think about it, 6 months out of the year, we are celebrating in the name of sugar. You have gingerbread cookies, candy corn, Valentine's Day chocolates, Easter bunny eggs, you name it, right? So there's been a traditional and cultural priming that has taken place, so much so that many of you probably can't even imagine celebrating a holiday or hanging out with your family without sugar coming up. So I think, there's a strong association between sweetness and love. And I know this is messed up in so many ways, but we have to really see it for what it is. And the last thing I want to do is sugarcoat anything, because we've been sugar-coated our whole lives. I mean, I could certainly think of my kindergarten teacher who would reward me with red vines and goldfish, every time I answered something correctly. So many reward systems are rooted in sugar. So that's making the emotional bond even stronger, especially since it's been going on for decades for so many of you. So this is part of the reason why it's so difficult to emotionally detach from sugar. I actually make a joke in my Holistic Hack workbook. I am referencing Holistic Hack number 2 right now. And I talk about how sugar is like that toxic person that you're just trying to break away from, and rationally you know that you need to stay away from this person, yet it's so hard to make those boundaries because you find yourself being emotionally reeled in. And so that is a toxic person, right? And sugar is toxic. So it definitely blurs our reason. It blurs our ability to make good decisions. And I want to talk about how it's not just the emotional component, but also the biochemical reactions that are taking place behind the scenes. So all of this is happening in the brain. Research has shown and proven that cocaine and opioids have the same effect in the brain as sugar. So sugar is a drug. It acts in the same way as a drug. It gives you that dopamine hit, which activates a temporary high, right? So this is the reason why you might find yourself reaching for the candy in the afternoon, right? As your energy starts to dip and you feel that you need something to give you that quick pick-me-up. So maybe this is why you find yourself getting reeled back in by sugar, right? That biochemical reaction that's taking place. So as you can see, it's incredibly easy to become attached and dependent on sugar, especially when you begin to associate sugar with love, happiness, and energy, even though it's a false sense of all of those things, right? But it's that instant gratification that really is the root cause of the addiction. So I think understanding that and knowing, hey, this sugar is not going to provide me long-term energy. So now I'm going to talk about the sneaky ways that sugar makes its way into your system. So even though I have clients that have told me, well, I don't really have that much sugar in my diet. I try to stay away from sugar. I don't normally have sugar, blah, blah, blah. Well, when I ask them these few questions, they start to rethink it. So flavored lattes is a big one. Have you ever asked how many pumps of sugar they put in a latte? You should. Sugar juice is another one. On the surface, it looks good, right? You see the label on the front, high in vitamin C, high in fiber, nutrients. Then you turn the juice over and it says 30 grams of sugar in just 1 8-ounce cup of juice. So that's extremely high, and you're not getting any of your enzymes from the fruit anyway. So really, it's just more sugar than you would ever have nutrients. It's more sugar than nutrients. And of course, the afternoon sweets that we talked about, those sugar cookies. Maybe your coworker offers you candy midday. You're going to start to notice these trends. Fructose found in processed foods and processed wheat. That's a big one. It converts into sugar in your system. And of course, even just having a few alcoholic beverages, right? That's all converting to sugar. Many of your carbs convert into sugar. So these are the main culprits. So how is it that sugar is toxic in the body, right? How is it that sugar starts to wreak havoc in the body? So I talked about the brain and what's happening biochemically there. Now let's talk about other systems of the body that are affected. So I'm just going to go through these really quickly. I'm going to actually give you a resource if you want to learn more about some of these pointers, but I'm just going to get right into it because I want to focus more on the last point, which has to do with your gut, because I am a gut specialist as a functional nutritionist. So anyway, number one is your natural fat burning cycle is disrupted. So you have your hunger hormones, which are leptin and ghrelin. Over time, these get thrown off balance to the point where you're not able to really experience satiety after eating. So you just keep getting hungry and hungrier throughout the day. This could be because your hunger hormones are off. And what happens too is you're unable to burn fat properly. Number two is your liver's ability to detoxify becomes impaired. So many people don't know that your liver actually forms triglycerides and fatty deposits. So you can actually get fatty liver from consuming way too much sugar. So you don't just get fatty liver from consuming too much alcohol. It could also be from too much sugar. And of course, this could lead to cardiovascular disease. Number three, blood sugar levels get disrupted. So if blood sugar stays elevated for too long, your body gets signals to produce more and more insulin. Some of your cells become desensitized to the point where they're not intaking the insulin, and this could eventually lead to type 2 diabetes and obesity. And so this might be something that you've heard of or seen. Number four, it's bad for beauty. So intaking too much sugar is actually not good for your beauty. So sugar makes you age faster because you have more free radical damage that's taking place. And all of this is affecting your skin. Number five, sugar weakens your bones. So sugar is extremely acidic, and what happens is calcium starts to get leached from the bones, and this could lead to things such as osteoporosis. So you want to make sure that you are consuming enough anti-inflammatory, low glycemic index foods to counterbalance that. 6, sugar causes cancer and dementia, as well as other brain diseases. So there is a strong link between these things. So you want to make sure that you're staying away from too much sugar, because that's going to lead to free radical damage. Okay. Now, number 7, my area of expertise, sugar causes gut flora damage. So it actually promotes the growth of bad bacteria in the gut. So we all have good and bad bacteria in our gut. But when we start consuming too much sugar, this ratio gets thrown off and it leads to disarray and irritation in the gut. And this could manifest in the form of an autoimmune response, such as allergies and skin conditions, which these are milder problems. But there's even evidence that shows that depression could be your body's response to swelling and inflammation in the gut. So I have mentioned that there's a strong gut-brain connection, right? So anything that's happening in the gut is being communicated and passed on to the brain. So if you have leaky gut, you actually also have leaky brain, right? So I want to also talk about yeast. So we all have a normal amount of yeast in the gut, but too much sugar throws off this balance, right? And this is when I might see higher instances of candida with clients. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your bacteria in balance. And just to give you a quick little checklist, these are signs of sugar overgrowth. So you could do a quick check-in with yourself right now. Feeling tired or worn down, frequent sinus infections, bloating and constipation, especially if it's reoccurring, strong sugar and carb cravings. Now, I've seen this one with many clients. I tend to question, like, okay, if it's a little too difficult to let go of the sugar and the carbs, what's going on with the yeast, right? So usually there's something going on behind the scenes. Skin rashes is another one. Yeast infections, especially reoccurring. Skin infections, different eruptions in the skin, and even toe fungus. So these are signals that you want to be paying attention to in the body. And so I'm giving you just a quick overview. I just wanted to give you a holistic picture of what's going on in the body, and just so you could see what's happening on an emotional, cognitive level, but also how we're so interconnected and how everything's connected, and other systems of the body could be affected by too much sugar. It's really amazing how just one thing can have such a big impact in our body. So, I mean, you can imagine if you don't intake as much sugar and you start focusing more on those lower glycemic index fruits, and really give yourself some time to do an elimination diet and increase your whole foods. It's amazing to see what an impact that can have on the body as well, right? So anyway, it typically takes about 7 to 21 days to really overcome a sugar addiction, just so you know. And even during this time, you might want to stay away from sweet potatoes and yams until you fully detox your body from sugar. Of course, you want to let your body recalibrate and rebalance blood sugar levels, and you want to let your gut also heal itself and reduce the inflammation in your gut. I hope this was helpful to you. I just want to give you some quick tips, and of course I'll be posting a lot more information. If you have a comment or you want to know more about this topic, feel free to comment below. I'll make sure to get back to you. If you want to message me in private, that's totally fine too. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, and if you want daily inspiration and motivation, make sure that you add me on Instagram and on Facebook. I'll be posting more goodies to come. Thank you.